This message is particularly for my fellow Black girls, Black women, I should say. I feel like we always have an endless internal search for our feminine softness. We have a lot of things geared towards us. We research, we look at other races of people to see like what they're doing and how they're doing it. And we try to like piece it together and apply it to our lives, and it just doesn't click. It just does not click. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't show up like that. And then we go back to the drawing board, we revise and do all this stuff, and we have this endless try again, like very much the little engine that could. And I believe that we do this at a superior level that is astonishing to not only the mental mind but also the human spirit. Like, we do this exceptionally. Try again. Try till failure, and then try after. And yet there is a little bit of an insanity caveat to it. There's an air of insanity, and there's also an air of your past is always still there. Your past will jump out in these situations where you created a new identity, an alter ego, if you wanted to call it that. You're on this new path. You're researching, you're acting as is, you're showing up differently, you're using a lower registry of your voice, you've taken the master classes, you've taken the extra classes, you're reading the books, you're going on the dates, you're doing all this stuff. And then your old self just jumps out at you. Jumps at whoever you're talking to. It's just boom. In a split second. You're shocked, they're shocked, the whole room's shocked. We're just in shock because you're like, who is this, honey? Where did you come from? Oh. And then you continue trying to stuff her away, push her away, and make her irrelevant once again so that you can try to learn how to be quote unquote soft. Have you questioned that sometimes, that information, the way it's taught, is not in its full breadth? That feminine energy work is unique to you and is a solo journey of the soul. You're not meant to do it like the white girls or the Asian girls or the Hispanic girls. You're meant to do it like you. And you're not even meant to do it like the Black girls. You're just meant to do it like you. And rule number 0, before you even start the journey, is accepting the old self that you keep wanting to push away because it's too hard, too aggressive, too much, too mad, too angry, too sad, just too. Yeah, that's the one that actually you have to do the journey with. And oh yeah, bring your inner child while you're at it. Woo. Now we're in no man's land. And I feel like a lot of times the reason why we started this journey, or the reason why we want to start this journey of feminine energy, is never the actual reason why we were called to the journey. What do I mean by a calling? A soul level calling, a deeper knowing that, oh, it's time. Very much like Simba realizing he can't just sit in the forest for all day long. He has a calling. Rafiki helped him out as the sage he is. But Simba was already asking the questions of who, what, when, where. Like, I have this urge, but who, what, when, where. That is when you know you were meant to be on some sort of journey. Even calling it a feminine journey or feminine energy journey is very subpar to what the actual journey is. It's a journey of mirror, universe, God, soul, self, goddess, goddesshood, priesthood, priestesshood, ancestral lines, trauma, circles, doubt, self-doubt, ego, quantum selves, inner child, animal spirits, seeing, sensing, being, embodying, expanding, being the experience. That's a journey that we have in our culture now, jam-packed into feminine energy work. It's not fucking feminine energy work. It's too deep of a pool, of a call to be just feminine energy work. And if you continue listening to people make it just feminine energy work, surface level work, not even the fake people who make you go deep, like, oh, journal and talk to yourself. No. You still haven't made it your own. You're just wanting to do it for the goal of what? To have a man, to manifest whatever life you want, to, manifest out of an old life you don't want to be a part of getting a better job, of making more money, and not dealing with whatever crackheads you have at work with you. Cool. That's not a calling, though. Running towards something and running away from something is just running. That's not a calling. No one told you, come this way. Spirit hasn't moved you. You're just running. And many times running around in the same circle. And that's when you realize you're just running around the same circle, when your old self jumps out at you again, scares you. Now you're back where you started. Now you're back where you started. And you're like, I've done all this work. What is going on? I've gone to therapy. I've been journaling. I've been rewriting. I've been praying. I've been doing this. Yeah. You have. You've done a lot of work. And I'm not going to be here to not validate your work, because you have done a lot of work. And most of the work you've done is in the right work, in the right areas. And yet, your intention, the reason why you're doing the work, is because you were not called to do the work. That's why it keeps coming up again and again and again. You are running from or running to, versus being summoned. You weren't summoned to do this work. And let's also be so frank. Many people will not be summoned to do this work. And that's just the hard, frank truth of it. Not everyone is going to be called to do this work. Because what this work is, it precedes you, it precedes your ego, it precedes your race, it precedes your ancestral lines, it precedes what you desire. And it it is challenging. It's not hard. It is challenging. And it requires a forever commitment, a forever curiosity, a forever pull, a forever call, a forever open ear to hear the call for an entire lifetime. As comfortable as your life is, you hear the call, you move. People talk about, oh, I just want my peace. Yeah, you want your peace to set up to be your next victim throne. So that when you acquire peace, or the idea or the facade of peace, whatever that means, you can lock yourself away and then start telling people, I don't want anyone to mess up my peace. How many of us have said that? I don't want anyone else to mess up my peace. Okay. No one will mess up your peace. Our words have so much divine power in them, and we use them so carelessly that it negates the entire purpose of speaking. The peace in which you are seeking is not peace. You are seeking safety. Let's actually call it what it is. We Black girls are seeking safety, and we're copting the word peace to label it as something, as a positive. No, we're seeking safety. And our standards for safety are much higher than most people. That's why we feel better calling it peace. Well, I'm trying to seek peace. No one can disturb my peace. You can't mess up my peace. What you're saying really is you don't want people to mess up your safety. You don't want people to mess up the strides that you've created, the sacrifices you made, the education, the time, the money, the experiences, the rooms that you were not invited into to create this life that you have. That is not actual peace, though. That is safety. It takes a lot for us to feel safe. And why is that a truthful statement? Because our lives prior to acquiring that level of safety were not fun. Most Black girls, most people, most of you all listening to this have had childhoods that were not fun. Even if you had a 2-parent household, even if you had college educated parents, even if you lived middle class, blah, 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 blah. It was just this cloud above your head of hardship. Sometimes necessary, many times unnecessary. Many times unnecessary hardship. As a start from where you were. Why do so many of us don't really remember our childhoods? And if we do, we don't see it in a positive light. We see it in a very adult lens of it was hard, it was shit, it was bad. We remember sacrifices. We don't remember gifts, compliments, celebrations. We remember hardships. And many of us, no matter what cultural background you have, many of us as Black women have an understanding of this is how we were raised to highlight hardship, hold resentments, and what ifs are being said as normal things in our vicinity. That's why when we interact with a mentor, a colleague, a friend, a classmate, even a boyfriend or a husband who speaks life, speaks celebration, speaks words of encouragement, someone who shifts our point of view and says, well, what about this? That person leaves a mark on us. Even if at the tail end it didn't work out, or you don't talk to them anymore, or they still left an impact on you. Because you were then given, especially that first person in your life, then you started, attracting other people who do it all the time. But that first person who does it, you're like, whoa, no one has ever said this to me before. No one has ever said this to me before in this way. In this way, the way it's said blows your mind. The kindness, the gentleness, the truth. The truth. We accept that truth has to be harsh and mean and divisive and final. And sometimes that other person gives us an air to realize that the truth can actually be said in such kindness, in power, in happiness and joy, in no ill will, and actually abundance. The truth can be said in that same vein. That blows our mind the first time it happens. And then we attract the second person and the third person. Then we start doing it for ourselves. And we go to this master class or this mastermind. We finish college, go to grad school, do all this stuff. And then we start co-opting or getting safety confused with peace, and not wanting people to disturb our peace, to disrupt our peace. My peace is important to me. Your peace is keeping you a loser. Your peace is limiting your actual growth. Your peace, this false peace of yours, is the reason why you're still suffering. Because when you're chasing peace, aka safety, and making that your upper limit, when you attain your upper limit, you have no idea, no clue what is even around you. Versus, if we remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety is pretty low on the totem pole. Are you chasing your desires? Are you chasing your dreams? Are you chasing your newer self, your higher self, your next frontier? Are you chasing the thing that actually scares you, but you know you deep down want inside? Are you chasing that? That, the pursuit of your happiness, that is wherein lies the peace. The peace is not at the end of the yellow brick road. The peace is the yellow brick road. That is the peace. That is the joy. That is the abundance, the journey. That is the feminine arc. That is the call. But sometimes we make peace such a far off concept. But we know the calling. We feel the calling that peace is for us. Yet instead of heeding the call of peace, heeding the call of the feminine journey, heeding the call of the soul journey of self-actualization, we then compromise, undermine, and make it the journey of safety, run around like chickens with our heads cut off, getting this degree, didn't get that thing, getting this thing, getting our business started, making our money, setting up our lives. To then have those things, be comfortable, live our lives, go on that vacation, or a couple, because one thing for sure, we gonna travel. But what we just recreated really is just our fortress of victimhood. The action of going towards something scary, but also something good, is peace. That is wherein lies peace. The tether, the fear, and the joy. That is peace. Making peace with that. Not hoarding things and saying, well, where I am is fine and I'm waiting for someone to come to me, but they can't disrupt my peace, and I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. I know. I literally was just talking to my friend about this 2 nights ago, and I had to stop myself mid-sentence and counteract a statement that we just co-signed. And I said, well, actually, there are good people out there who are actually healthy, kind, and respectful. It's not always doom and gloom. That cannot be our end story. That cannot be our fate. I refuse. Because that's not a real fate. Doom and gloom is not a real fate. Might as well just die. That's not even real. But that is a fate that many of us want to assume. Doom and gloom. Woe is me. Pain and suffrage. And protecting peace. Peace that God created. We are trying to protect it. For what reason? For what world? Why would we try to protect peace in what world? Oh, we're trying to protect our peace, as if something or someone will come in to disrupt something that we are. We are peace. How are we protecting our peace when we are it? They can come and disrupt your whole entire life, freaking turn it down and make you destitute on the street. But the peace in which you are speaking of, actual peace, that lies within us, especially us. Especially us. Not coldness, not toughness, not aggression, not indifference. Peace. Peace lies within us. Someone can come tear your life apart. You're still peace. Unless you have manifested out and think that peace is an outside object of your control. Something that you have ascertained through money or gifts or degrees or status or jobs. Oh, this is now my peace. That's not peace. That's not peace. That is safety. That's a rainy day fund. That's not peace. That's why a rainy day fund gives you peace of mind. The same way that safety gives you peace of mind. Safety can give you peace. Safety is not peace. Safety is quite fear-based. It is a proactive reaction to fear. Peace is an independent factor. an independent variable, no matter what's happening in your life, how safe and how wealthy you are, peace can be there if you decide it to be there, and peace can totally be so far away, so unrelated if you decide it to not be there. But do you hear the call? Do you genuinely hear the call to seek out your inner peace, to become peace, to be peace? That you so much embody peace to a point where people say you walk into a room and you make everyone calm. You are peace. Regardless of what's happening in your actual life, you are peace. People see you and they feel at peace. You give the people the experience of peace. That is a gift bestowed and realized and recognized through the journey of soul. Peace, an internal aspect of you that you can call forth at any time, not only for yourself but for others. Peace. Not a fortress that you build up. I want to remind you all, you are peace. Regardless of what anyone has been saying to you, has countered that idea to you, has made you feel, especially your mind. We sometimes like to blame outside people when our mind is our biggest hater. Our very limited mind. We as Black women are so smart, beyond smart. Quantum leaps ahead, and yet our limiting beliefs from our mind stop us from becoming the quantum selves. We can see our whole future in our eyes. We can see the entire vision, the sequels to come, the lifetimes after lifetimes. Yet our core beliefs, our limiting core beliefs, prevent us from actually ever believing that we are meant to, in this life, become that quantum. That is why we still hold peace as a concept to bargain and hold and exchange, and we finally have it, so we have to keep it away in a secret chest. Versus becoming the jewel of peace, becoming the ruby of hope, becoming the topaz of abundance. Crystallizing the feeling of peace, of hope, and abundance into your own body and becoming that. So no matter what your external world looks like, your internal and actual self exudes what you truly are, which is peace, which is hope, which is abundance, which is whatever you want it to be. Yet our mind doesn't allow us to embody that. We have such deep seated core beliefs that, every day I journal and I think about things, I'm like, I still can't believe I freaking believe this. And then I'm online, I'm listening to my favorite content creators, or I'm watching a reality TV show, or I'm even watching a movie and I'm like, what? How come the black character thinks that? The black girl. How come these black brilliant women creators are saying that as like it's factual? Like, who told you that? How come I am still writing that core belief as if this it's just the truth and not an opinion of an older version of myself? How come?